To begin with, I would like to ask everyone what you think are some characteristics of moral leadership, and you guys can just unmute and answer.
Being honest.
Yes. Anyone else or no?
What was the question? Because I couldn't hear you clearly.
What are some characteristics of moral leadership? Okay, so I have some listed, and I have honesty, integrity, fairness, and inspire and elevate others. What is moral leadership? Moral leadership can be defined as distinguishing right from wrong and doing right, seeking the just, honest, and good in the practice of leadership. On our right-hand side, we can see a picture of Nelson Mandela, and to many people, he is considered a moral leader because he dedicated his life to fighting for equality, justice, and emphasized forgiveness. What is moral leadership like today? Moral leadership today often faces significant challenges due to the increasing prevalence of ethical lapses in both politics and corporations. High-profile scandals have become more common, highlighting significant breaches of trust. For instance, Russia's telecom minister is on the hot seat over charges that he owns a huge chunk of the industries overseas, having secretly converted telecom business from state ownership. As a result, the relationship between individuals and organizations is characterized by frustration, mistrust, and disappointment. What is ethical leadership? Ethical leadership involves leaders and managers making decisions based on the right thing to do for the common good, not just based on what is best for themselves or the bottom line. Below, there are some principles of ethical leadership, and ethical leaders not only embody these principles themselves, but also encourages their team members to adopt similar behavior. By fostering a workplace culture that values transparency, collaboration, and inclusion, they create an environment where everyone feels safe to express their ideas and concerns. Ethical climate in U.S. businesses. Ethical climate refers to the shared perceptions of what is considered right or wrong behavior within an organization. A strong ethical climate is essential for fostering a culture of integrity and accountability. High ethical standards from the top leaders are crucial for maintaining trust within the organization. When leaders demonstrate a commitment to ethical behavior, it encourages employees to follow suit, creating a positive work environment. Conversely, when leaders fail to uphold ethics, it negatively impacts employees' trust, commitment, and productivity. What leaders do to make things go wrong? Leaders who prioritize selfishness and greed can significantly undermine an organization's ethical climate. When such attitudes prevail, they create a culture where unethical behavior becomes normalized, leading employees to rationalize their own ethical actions with thoughts like, well, everybody is doing it, so maybe it isn't so bad. This environment fosters dishonesty towards employees, partners, customers, and shareholders, which erodes trust and integrity. Moreover, failing to honor agreements and commitments is common among unethical leaders, further damaging relationships. Here we have an activity of true or false questions. So when I'm done reading each question, you guys can feel free to unmute and answer whether you guys think it's true or false. Number 1, overall, it is better to be humble and honest than to be successful and dishonest. True or false?
True.
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 Okay. 2, a leader should take action only when it is morally right. True or false?
True.
3, the vast majority of people are brave, good, and kind. True or false?
You could repeat that one, please.
The vast majority of people are brave, good, and kind. True or false?
I would say false.
Okay, me too. A good way to handle people is to tell them what they like to hear. True or false?
False.
False.
Okay. 5, it is better not to tell people the real reason you did something unless it benefits you. True or false?
False.
Here we have a table comparing unethical leadership to ethical leadership. The unethical leader is arrogant and self-serving, excessively promotes self-interest, practices deception, breaches agreements, deals unfairly, shifts blame to others, diminishes others' integrity, neglects follower development, withholds help and support, and lacks courage to confront unjust acts. Whereas the ethical leader possesses humility, maintains concern for the greater good, is honest and straightforward, fulfills commitments, strives for fairness, takes responsibility, shows respect for each individual, encourages and develops others, serves others, and shows courage to stand up for what is right. How to act like a moral leader. Develop, articulate, and uphold high moral principles. Focus on what is right for the organization as well as all the people involved. Set the example you want others to live by. Be honest with yourself and others. Drive out fear and eliminate undiscussables. Establish and communicate ethic policies. Develop a backbone. Show zero tolerance for ethical violations. Reward ethical conduct. Treat everyone with fairness, dignity, and respect from the lowest to the highest level of the organization. And do the right thing in both your private and professional life, even if no one is looking. The 3 levels of personal moral development outline how individuals progress in their understanding of ethics and morality. For level 1, we have pre-conventional. At this stage, individuals follow rules primarily to avoid punishment. Their actions are driven by self-interest, and they may demonstrate blind obedience to authority without understanding the broader implications. Level 2, conventional. Here, individuals strive to meet the expectations of others. They focus on fulfilling their duties and obligations within their social system and aim to uphold laws and societal norms. Level 3, post-conventional. In this advanced stage, individuals follow internalized universal principles of justice and what they believe is right. They balance their concern for others and the common good, acting independently and ethically, regardless of societal expectation. So now I would like to pass everyone on to Angel Alexander.
Servant leadership. This type of leadership encourages their followers into leaders by developing their potential rather than using their position to control people. According to the DAFT, traditional organizations were based on the idea of that the leader is in charge of their subordinates and the success of the organization, which depends on the leader's control over his followers. In phase one, subordinates are passive. They are not expected to think for themselves, but to do as they are instructed. In phase two, subordinates are more active in their work. In phase three, steward- stewardship is learned as it signifies a shift in mindset from responsibility and authority from leaders to followers. In the last phase 4, leadership, in which it represents beyond stewardship, whereas the leader gives up their control and makes a choice to serve their employees. In this exhibit, it shows in stage 1 control, authoritarian leader with obedient subordinates. In stage 2, participative leader with team players. In phase 3, empowerment, stewardship leader, self-responsible employees. And in stage 4, service with a servant leader with whole employees. Authoritarian management. Power, purpose, and privilege reside with people who are at the top of an organization. Leaders set a goal and strategy at this stage, as well as methods and rewards they could use for attaining them. Organizational stability and efficiency are most important. Subordinates are to follow a routine and be controlled along with machines and raw materials. They are given no freedom of speech when creating a meaning and purpose for the work they are given, as well as no discretion on how they perform in their job. This type of leadership mindset is to emphasize on-site control, employee standardization, and specialization, as well as management by impersonal measurement and analysis. An example of an autocratic leader is Kim Jong-un. Participative management. Since the 1980s, organizations made efforts for their employees to be proactively involved in their jobs. Through this strategy, leaders have their employees suggest what they want in the organization through suggestion programs, participation groups, and quality circles. This gives an increase in teamwork and gives important part of how work is done in many organizations. According to the DAFT, one study sponsored by the Association of Quality and Participation revealed that more than 70% of the large U.S. corporations have adopted some kind of employee participation program. However, the programs do not redistribute power and authority to lower level workers. This mindset still shows the paternalist side of leaders whom goals and purpose is to make final decisions and decide the rewards. Stewardship. This is the belief that leaders are deeply accountable to others as well as the organization without trying to control others or take care of others. Followers are employed to make decisions and controls on how they do their job. The leaders give their subordinates power to influence their own systems and structures to become leaders for themselves. Stewardship has become an alternative leadership because the subordinates are the spotlight and the leaders are like the audience. The employees are doing the work, making the product, providing a service, or working with the customer. Stewardship leaders give the guide, the organization, without dominating but facilitate its employees without controlling them. It allows for relationship between leaders and employees in which they can make self-responsible employees for the organization's success. 4 principles of stewardship. Number 1, we orient toward a partnership assumption. Partnership can only happen when the leaders take a step back and the core leaders come forward. Partners are honest, say no when needed, do not hide information, and protect each other from the bad news. They are both responsible for defining the purpose and they are accountable for the outcome. Number 2, localize decisions and power to the closest to the work and the customer decision and the customer. Decision making and the authority to act should only reside when the work gets done, which means the employee is doing key or core work for the organization. Number 3, recognize and reward the value of labor. In stewardship, redistributing wealth and compensation to the core workers can make significant gains when they make exceptional contributions. Everyone earns their pay by delivering their real value, and the organization pay as much as possible. Number 4, expect core work teams to build the organization. Teams of workers who make up the core organization define their goals, maintain control, create a nurturing environment, and organize themselves to a changing environment and the marketplace they serve. The servant leader. This leadership transcends self-interest to serve the needs of others, help others grow, develop and provide opportunity for others to gain materially and emotionally. In some organizations, the leader's top priority is the service to employees, customers, shareholders, and the general public. A servant leader mentality is different. For these leaders, they think that the purpose of their existence is to serve. Their leadership style is like an act of service because it enables people to grow and become capable. These are some examples of servant leaders: Nelson Mandela, Sister Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, and that's the end of my presentation. I will pass you on to Malik Edwards.
Hi, good day, everyone. So I'm going to start my part of the assessment with a rhetorical question. So we're speaking about leadership courage. Doing the right thing requires courage. So imagine this scenario. You're part of an organization. So you're working in an organization, you're a junior in a junior accounting position. So you're just a junior in the organization. While helping with the company's internal audit, you realize that monies are unaccounted for in a department that is in control by senior management. So you are a junior in an organization, you're doing your job, you come to realize, well, something is wrong, and is the senior management responsible for that? What would you do in this situation? Next slide. So what is courage? So courage is simply the ability to step forward through fear. So like this scenario, just now you must be able to do things that may have detrimental consequences on yourself, but it will be for the greater good regardless. So the consequences could be fear of losing a job, fear of the unknown, fear of turning against the status quo, etc. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act in spite of them. Many fears are learned. So, we are products of our environment. Leaders step True leaders step through learn fears to accept responsibility, take risks, make changes, speak their minds, and fight for what they believe. Now, courage. Courage means accepting responsibility. Courageous leaders create opportunities to make a difference. Leaders demonstrate courage by openly taking responsibility for their failures and mistakes, or not avoiding or blaming others, not trying to pass the blame on. Courage often means non-conformity. Courage means pushing beyond the comfort zone. Courage means asking for what you want and saying what you think. Courage means fighting for what you believe. So leaders take risks, but they do so for a higher purpose. So everything you're doing is for a greater good, right? Courage means doing what is right, even when this goes against the status quo and possibly opens you to failure and personal sacrifice. We have courage and leadership. Courage and moral leadership works together hand in hand. To practice moral leadership, what leaders must know themselves. You must know what you stand for, your principles. Leaders must lean towards being non-conformist, so you can't always want to align with what others are doing. So courage to make tough decisions. Whistleblowing. What is whistleblowing? Whistleblowing refers to the act of an individual or group of individuals exposing information about illegal, immoral, or unethical activities within an organization. And in the picture here, we have Edward Snowden, an American whistleblower. I don't know if you all have ever heard about him before, but he used to work for the NSA, the National Security Agency of America, and he leaked some classified information, which basically revealed that the NSA was spying on people. The NSA had access to your personal messages, whether it is on social media. Once it's on the internet, they had access to your personal messages, your IP address, which is your location, your name, and they were creating profiles of people using this database, right? So that's whistleblowing, revealing information about an organization that could be morally wrong. And then how does a leader find the courage to step through fear? Next slide. How does a leader find the courage to step through fear? First, we must recognize our faults and shortcomings. Keep in mind the following: we are conditioned by learned fear. We often limit ourselves and settle in a comfort zone. How do we overcome these things? We must center our core principles around a larger purpose or deeper vision. When satisfying your own self-interest are at the forefront, then you are not thinking big enough, so you're still limited. And be willing to take a different approach. Leaders are called to set the trend. We must be able to think outside of the box. How does a leader find the courage to step through fear? When you post something, you're excited about getting likes from other people. With the more likes, the better you feel about it, and perhaps the more you are likely to post again. This is according to Dr. David Amadeo, professor of psychology and neuroscience at New York University. So basically, we live in the digital age, a new era centered around social media and online connectivity. We are constantly being conditioned to being liked or likes and followed and followers. So the conditioning is there, where we are being exposed to being followers and to being liked. So how does our leader find the courage to step through fear? Continue. First, we must embrace failure. When people accept failure and are at peace with the worst possible outcome, they find they have the fortitude to move forward. Failures lead to new experiences, and it gives a leader a chance to try again with a different strategy, one equipped with the knowledge of the last outcome. And in the picture here, we have J.K. Rowling. There's the author of the Harry Potter series. She actually went to 9 different publishing houses before the book Harry Potter was picked up. So she failed 9 times. All of them thought it wasn't a good idea, it wasn't a good book. But as a leader, she kept on going at it again over and over until somebody picked it up and it became a huge series. Everybody knew about Harry Potter. So how does a leader find the courage to step through fear continued again? Must draw strength from others. A courageous leader must be genuine. Being genuine simply means wanting to see others grow and succeed. When you have a win-win mentality, you're able to create an outcome that is suitable for everyone. So draw strength from others. You must encourage others to be their best, and likewise, they will work together with you to get the best results. You can garner real, meaningful support so that when challenging times approach, the organization will be more open and caring, which can reduce the fear of failure and produce better results. How does a leader find the courage to step through fear? Continue that again. Harness strong emotions. There are lots of leaders who are empowered by emotional reaction. Their momentary frustrations towards a perceived injustice had led to some of the biggest civil rights movements. In the picture here, we have Rosa Parks, civil rights activist. I believe a lot of us will know the story. She was on the bus. Back in them times, there was a lot of segregation. So colored people had to sit to the back of the bus. The whites were allowed to get the priority to get the seats in front, etc. And they had asked Rosa Parks to get up from her seat. And at that point, she was just frustrated. She was fed up. She was tired, the persecution. So she had a strong emotional reaction. She was actually charged for not giving up her seat. But that emotional reaction and that emotions that she harnessed actually carried her to be a part of some of these biggest civil rights movements and actually to stop the segregation laws, especially within the bus system and so on. And in conclusion, people want honest and trustworthy leaders. People must be able to have faith in you as a leader if you want to be a good leader, if you want to have a good following. As a leader, you will face many challenges, but the courage and ability to overcome them will determine your capacity. So as a leader, we will face problems. We just show our tenacity and our ability to overcome them will determine how great you are as a leader. Being a good leader means serving others, not our own self-interest. So it have a quote, I believe, is the whole is always greater than the sum of the parts. Right? So most people think as themselves as a part, so you only serving your self-interest. But when you come together as a whole, a lot more things is able to be accomplished. Moral development is important to establishing oneself as a caring and genuine leader. Moral development is simply being able to do what is right regardless of the circumstances. So regardless of what position you're in, regardless of who you are, if you think you're not significant enough, you must be able to make the decisions that are necessary and to do what is right in the face of any challenges or any circumstances. And thank you, everyone. That brings it to the end of our presentation. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new today.
Okay, guys, I paused the recording. Great stuff.